Yo, what is going on, everybody? My name is Credo and welcome back to another video. And today I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. I'm going to be doing my initial thoughts on one of the biggest games on Steam right now and in the world, to be honest, Black Myth Wukong. Now this is only going to be my initial thoughts on the game right now, since I'm only I think halfway through the game. I'm pretty sure there's 6 chapters and I'm almost done with chapter 3. I'm pretty sure I'm on the last boss in chapter 3, which is by far my least favorite in the fucking game right now. I'm dealing with this little glitch that makes it to where my screen rips and shit, and the boss is just all around stupid, but I'll get more into it later on in this video, so stay tuned for that. Okay, and for the people who don't know what Black Myth Wukong is or are unfamiliar with it and just, recently getting into it, I'm going to explain to you what it is a little bit. It's an action RPG game. It's kind of like Elden Ring, if you guys know what that game is. Of course you do. If you don't, you need to get into it because it's one of the greatest games of all time, and I just dropped 6 videos about it, so go look at those if you guys are interested in that. But Black Myth Wukong was just released on August 19th by the developers Game Science out of China. The lore behind Wukong has got to be one of my favorite, coming from a main character, because it's so wacky and weird. You can just tell that it is a very ancient story, and I just love it. I just been introduced to it recently, but I'm really into it. But get this, it is about a monkey born out of a stone that cannot be beat by anyone, and I mean literally anyone. He is probably one of the most powerful main characters out of all the main characters of all time. He even inspired characters like Goku, Luffy, pretty much all the main characters that are superheroes, and they go on their little adventures. This is the original story. This is where it all comes from. It was comes from a book that was released in 1592 called The Journey to the West. If you guys want to break down on the book The Journey to the West, I can do that too if you guys really want me to. I'm really excited to do that. And since this book was released in 1592, it is probably one of the earliest adaptations, if not is, of the hero genre, main character, type thing. Black Myth Wukong had one of the biggest releases of a game of all time, peaking at 2 million players at the release date, and it came in at second place, only behind PUBG, I'm pretty sure. And it's honestly well deserved, because I've been having the funnest time on this game. Just the combat, the story, there's a little bit of glitches here and there's some cons to it. They need to do a couple of patches and get that all fixed, but once they do that and they release a bunch of DLCs, this game has legit potential, and I think it may be just as good as Elden Ring, if not right behind it. I don't know yet. I need to let it simmer down a little bit. I don't know if it's just recency bias, but I'm really enjoying this game right now. Speaking of gameplay, we're going to talk about that here for a second. It's got to be, like I said before, it's got to be one of the funnest games when it comes to pure combat. I've just been having a blast on it. Black Myth Wukong is extremely fast paced, and they have 102 bosses in the game, and they're all uniquely designed, and I just love the aesthetic of all the bosses. And the fights feel like they're straight out of an anime. I'm no kidding. It's probably the most aesthetically pleasing fights out of every game I've ever played. I mean, it's on Devil May Cry level, and that's saying a lot. If you guys don't know, have never seen Devil May Cry gameplay, it's really fire. You get 4 different spell slots for different types of spells that you want to use in the game that really differentiate on how far you are into the game, but the main ones that you get at the start of the game is Immobilize, Pluck of Many, Cloud Step, and your Transformation, which is probably one of my favorite. You can collect the spirits from some of the main bosses in the game, which is probably one of my favorite unique mechanics in the game. It's really unique in the way that you can just, collect their spirits and then use it as your transformation spell, and then use some of their abilities that they use to kick your ass in that boss fight. Now, there's actually 2 different transformation skills that you can get. The transformation skill where, is actually in one of your 4 main spell slots. You actually can turn into one of your little spirits that you collected, and then move around with them for a little bit. But there's this other one that you get. I don't know exactly what it's called, but you press RT and LT. I'm on Xbox. So you press RT and LT, and then you use, for instance, I'm using Tiger Acolyte. So I'll use RTLT. He'll come out with this katana, do a slash, and then that'll give me a little buff for like I think 30 or 60 seconds, something like that. And I'm pretty sure the Tiger Acolyte gives me a critical hit chance boost, which is pretty good because I'm doing like a crit hit damage build. Now the leveling is pretty unique compared to all the other action RPG games that you guys are going to play. There's these sparks that you're going to be getting from like meditating and, you know, regularly leveling that you can reignite. Now that word reignite is kind of like odd to me because in the lore, if you guys don't know, you're actually not Sun Wukong. You're another, because Sun Wukong dies. Spoiler alert. Sun Wukong dies at the beginning of the game and you're pretty much another being of that monkey species that is completely different but also just as powerful. So I don't know if you're reigniting. I think you're a reincarnation of Sun Wukong, so I don't know how that works, if you're still Sun Wukong or not. But I don't want to give any spoilers. I'm just still trying to, I'm going to do my, you know, full breakdown of the game once I finish it. But there's these sparks that you collect, you know, from meditating, like I said before, or leveling. And you go to these shrines that are kind of like Elden Ring, the campfire sites on Elden Ring. You go to that, you set these little incense down, which is really unique. I kind of like it. It's really cool. You set the little incense down and then you level with them. You can do leveling there. There's a store where you can brew all types of flasks and everything. That's where you craft your armor and your weapons and rest to, you know, replenish all your health, and all the enemies in the area will respawn, you know. You can also use your reignited sparks to level up into a different type of stance, which is pretty much a heavy attack. I'm using the heavy thrusting ability where you know, step back and then your thing extends to a long ass staff and then you just hit his ass, stab him. You can also level your 4 spells that I mentioned before, so that's pretty nice. Like you can upgrade your immobilize to make your enemies immobile for even longer if you like using immobile. I don't like using that. I actually just changed it recently. Now that I've covered all the good things that I like about the game, let's talk about a little bit of the controversy that the game's been getting recently. Like I mentioned earlier, the developers, Game Science, are based out of China. And I know all of us Americans are very, very, you know, iffy about China and their government. Not the people, but the government. Some of you guys don't know, China is very strict on their people. And some of their people don't really have the rights that we have here in America. And there's a bunch of different variety of restrictions that they have that we don't, like internet censorship. They're not allowed to use certain things that we use, like TikTok. And they have TikTok, but it's like a different type of TikTok. It's a Chinese TikTok. It's a completely different thing. And they're not allowed to use things like Facebook. Their internet is very, very highly, you know, monitored, and they weren't even allowed to really have consoles until 2014. So I can only imagine how hard it was to get this game released and out there. They probably had to jump through so many hurdles and hoops to even get this game to see the light of day. Since it's been almost like 10 years since they've been allowed to have consoles, they haven't really started releasing really good games until recently, back in 2014 and 2015, when they initially got, you know, their consoles and stuff. They only released like a couple of knockoff games, like a Call of Duty or CSGO game or something like that, if I remember correctly. But the main games that come out of China today are Genshin Impact, which is really big. I can imagine the Genshin Impact helped a lot to be able to get Black Myth Wukong out there a little bit more. But since I've explained to you guys how the government is in China, let me tell you about the biggest controversy surrounding around the game recently, which is this email that was leaked probably about like a few weeks ago. But the email was regards to Black Myth Wukong creators such as streamers and YouTubers to not discuss feminism propaganda or the infamous virus that I shall not name in this fucking video because I don't want to get demonetized, even though I don't make money anyways. But if you're like me, this little bit of controversy won't stop you from enjoying the game, because at the end of the day, that's all it's about, is if the game's good or not. I don't care if it's woke. I don't care if it's not woke. I don't care if it's a game from China. That at the end of the day, all that matters is if I enjoy playing the game. Now with that email, I think it was pretty obvious that it came straight from the Chinese government, the CCP. That has nothing to do with the developers themselves. They probably had no say on the matter on if they wanted to release that email anyways. Now for the main question of the video. Is Black Myth Wukong worth playing? For the short answer, abso-fucking-lutely. The game is fucking amazing. The graphics are amazing. The combat is amazing. The only couple of problems that I've had is a couple of bugs with a couple of bosses and a couple of dumb mechanics with the bosses. Like there's some of these little cutscenes that you'll get in the middle of a boss, and it's a cutscene where he automatically hits you, and your health gets knocked down to pretty much 1 HP, and then you have to use a flask, so you have no choice. So there's a little bit of nitpicks here and there that I don't like about the game, but overall, I would rate this game a cool 8.5 out of 10. I've been really enjoying it, so I'm gonna let it simmer down before I I haven't even finished the game yet, so that 8.5, just throw it in the trash. Let me finish the game first, and then I'll give a full fucking review on it. But yeah, if you're on the fence about buying Black Myth Wukong, I would 100% recommend you get it if you have the money. It is extremely fucking fun, and I've been having a blast playing it. The lore, the combat, the cinematics, the world building, everything about it is just amazing, and it comes from an old story in 1592, which I think just makes it even better. The developers deserve all the support because I know it was really hard for them to get this game out there for everybody to enjoy it, and I really appreciate them for, releasing this game. And because everybody thought it was a scam at one point, they didn't think it was going to release, and it actually ended up coming out, and that made me really happy to see that it was actually releasing. And it was around my birthday too, so that was a little birthday gift for me, I feel like. Well, if you guys like this video, please leave a like down below. Please subscribe and leave a comment what you guys would like to see next. I really had fun, making this video. It's a little different, but let me know if you guys enjoyed it. And well, I love you guys. Bye.